Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sammy, Sam Marie, Samantha Read a Lot, if you will, and today we're doing our quarter one reading wrap up. It's quarter one reading wrap up time. If this is your first time here, a little bit about me. I'm 28 years old. I am a psychiatric PA. I own a small smoothable business. I'm for baby mother of 3. I'm an avid reader, hobby enthusiast, book collector, as you can see in the background. Anyways, this is everything that I read. I am one book behind pace. Starting off, I'm going to take a sip of my energy drink. We are drinking a cotton candy Alani. Guys, these, I slept on. I slept on these when they first came out. I hope everybody has a fun drink with them. Let's talk about these books that I read. Okay, first 3 were all Kindle Unlimited reads, so I'll just pop them up on the screen as we're talking about them. The first one, I got into the Maid series by Danielle. Why did I get into this? Because I've been chasing the high of The Predator and The Reaper by Rue Nix since the day that I read those books. I haven't found something that itched the scratch that addressed for me since I read those. And even the rest of the series did not do that for me. And the last book was such a letdown, but we're not talking about those today. So I read the Maid series. It didn't do that for me. It was a good and fun time. The Sweetest Oblivion was the first one that I read. That is the first one in this Mafia trilogy, the Maid series. There's 3 books. And that one we're following the male main character, Nicholas. I think they call him Nico, I'm pretty sure. And then Elena. They are from different like Mafia families, Mafia rivals. So there is an arranged marriage to bring the families together, but it's actually not originally with Elena. She's the older sister. It's actually with her younger sister, who I'm forgetting her name. And they have an arranged marriage, Nico and the sister. There's kind of a forced proximity of Nico and Elena because there's family dinners, family gatherings, but I mean, they're enemies. It's giving slow burn. Like lust was there pretty quick. Love was there pretty down the line. He's like, touch her, look at her, breathe in her direction, die type of man, you know? My thing though about a mafia romance is I do not want them to be any sort of type of like serious issues towards women. I don't like the joking of any sort of like anything like being disrespectful towards women. I like it when they're like touch or die. He's a bad guy, but he's not a bad guy to women. Does that make sense? And so there's like a couple of things that he said. They're at this dinner and the sister that's originally supposed to marry him like asked him a question about consummating the marriage and things like that. And I did not like that man's response. I gave it a 3-star overall. A good and fun time. If you're looking for like a super duper fast read, that man is down bad for his girl, his women. The next one is The Maddest Obsession. This one was my favorite in the series, and we're following Gianna and we're following Christian. Christian is this guy who's kind of worked his way into the mafia scene, but he's not part of a mafia family. He works for the FBI, but he's like a double agent, if you will. I don't know. He's a good guy, but he's a bad guy. And Gianna, she has just kind of had like a rough go of it, had to like marry this old guy. She's already a widow at her young age. She's kind of looked at as like the messy one. It was really fun to watch like her character evolve, but her and Christian, they're also giving enemies to lovers, but they're like very much a slow burn. We're following them over 8 to 10 years, I believe, following like how their dynamic is. It's really giving like this man's obsessed with her. If I was going to recommend any of the books, I would recommend this one the most from this series. I give it like a 3.5 stars out of 5. And then the last one, Darkest Temptation. We're following Mila and Ronan. Ronan is Christian's brother, but he is in Russia and is like a part of that mafia scene over in Russia. Mila is the daughter of somebody that he's like in another mafia mob. Ronan has had beef with her father for years and years. She happens to be upon the Russian scene. Like she goes to Russia, whatever. She's trying to find out more about her mom because her mom was from there. She was famous there. She performed there, but she gets there and she's like already in sticky situations. And then she runs into Ronan and he kidnaps her. It's very much Stockholm Syndrome. I don't know. It just like wasn't for me personally. I'd rate it like a 2 stars. I just didn't like the kidnapping of it all. So that was the Maid series. Did I want more from it? Yes. All the other books we have physical copies of, because what are we doing? We're reading from our physical TBR. This is Darkly by Marisha Pessl, a young adult psychological thriller, good and fun time. We're following Dia, and she's our female main character. She applies for this internship to Darkly, this gaming network company that is on this isolated island. She applies for an internship she doesn't really know exactly, like they're going to be working on the next game. When she gets it and she gets in, she finds herself with, there's 6 to 8 of them that are all taken from all these different circumstances to work on this mission together. I won't say the exact mission they're on, because there's a mission and then there's an underlying mission. It's very isolated, not so much contact other than with these group of people. The games are so fun and entertaining. I really enjoyed this, following along, because it was kind of high stakes, but at times it didn't feel as high stakes. And then all of a sudden you were like, wait, surely they're not going to kill off the female main character in my young adult psychological thriller. Surely that's not the plan. But it's fun to watch the kids connect. There are plot twists after plot twists after plot twists. There's things to unravel. I really enjoyed it. I gave this a 4 stars. I would definitely recommend it. You're not jumping out of your seat until you get into the thick of it, and then you're like, oh my goodness, what is going to happen? And then then we started reading The Poppy War. I did switch over to Kindle. You can see I started my tabs, and then the rest of my tabs are in Kindle. I'm gonna maybe do a separate video of a deep dive on The Poppy War, and that's when I'll put my annotations in my physical copies. This is a dark military fantasy trilogy. There's 3 books in the series. I did read all 3 in Q1. This first one, we're following our female main character, Rin. She's part of Rooster Province, which is an underprivileged, underserved community in the South. She is now about to be forced into this arranged marriage with this old man, and she does not want that, so she talks to her adoptive parent. Hey, if I can get into the school, please let me take this test. If I can get into school, then I don't have to go through with this marriage. So she takes the Kaju, which is an examination that all the kids have the opportunity to take. It is more likely that those with more money, more privilege, more resources are gonna perform better, do better, and have better access to this. But she meets with her tutor 2 years straight, endless nights of studying so she can take this exam. It'll get you into different schools, but she wants to go to Singard, which is the main military school, and everybody that goes there, you're the top 1% of test takers, you get to go there for free. So that's her only option, because she's not working with any money. But so she takes it, gets in, and then she goes to Singard, where she's meeting a bunch of different people. We meet a lot of our main characters. When she's going to the school, there's a lot of she's targeted for the color of her skin, for her accent, for being from the South, for being underprivileged. You have to make it through year 1 to keep going, and then you get placed into different routes. There's strategy, there's lore, essentially military fighting. We're learning a lot about shamanism through that. That's the main form of magic, and the fantastical elements of this book is shamanism. Wow, what a read. Absolutely epic, which we might as well just go ahead and talk about those, because I'm not going to be able to say too much, because they're the second and third books. That's the Dragon Republic and the Burning God. Read all 3 of these bad boys. I did take a break after this one. These are heavily inspired by the Sino-Japanese War and the Chinese Civil War, and characters are based off of people. There's a lot of inspiration drawn, and you're coming to conclusions and trying to think about, what would I do if I was in these situations? Is it even fair to compare myself to that? What would I do in this circumstance? But I wasn't raised under the same circumstances as certain characters were. I'm certainly raised more privileged way in comparison to Rin. I can't even take into consideration how I would act, because I have a fully different psyche growing up than she would have had. Who's right? Who's wrong? Is anybody right in this war? There is a quote that's nobody's really even right in war. It's just whoever survives, survives. Whoever lives who lives. And it's just a very impactful read. I think anybody could read this. I definitely think should be at least, I think I could have read these at 15 or 16. I don't have kids though, so I don't know. I think anybody could pick these up, read these, enjoy these, gain something from it. This is a 5-star series for me. If I'm gonna get picky, 5 stars, 4.5, 5 stars. Literally, it's not that serious. This is a 5-star trilogy for me. I can't wait to read more books by this author. In the midst of reading that series, I picked up Love on the Brain by Hazelwood. This is one of her OG STEM romances. It is giving rivals to lovers. We're following Bea and we're following Levi. They went to the same schooling, were in a lot of the same classes, but she always felt like he didn't like her. There's certain reasons, but it was a lot of like miscommunication. He's grumpy, she's sunshine, and she just feels like this guy does not like her whatsoever. Now she gets offered to be the neuroscientist on this new NASA project, but this NASA project, the head engineer is Levi. So they end up in this situation of like having to work together after all of these years of thinking like, hey, we were arch nemesis. But it's definitely quintessential Allie Hazelwood. This girl is quirky. She's like falling over. She's fainting here. Not my favorite by her, but I mean, I enjoyed it. I give this like a 3.5 stars. It was a good and fun time. It's a little bit like irritating at times with like some of the miscommunication going on, but again, it's just like a silly, goofy, fun time. People compare this one to the Love Hypothesis. It has been so long since I read that book, but I do think I like the Love Hypothesis better than this one. Then we read The Villa by Rachel Hawkins. This is a thriller following two different timelines. We're following stepsisters in the 70s, and then we're following best friends in the current timeline. In the current timeline, they are two best-selling authors. One of them writes mysteries and one of them writes like self-helpy type of books. The one girl who writes the thrillers, she is kind of going through a writer's block. She just doesn't know where to go. Her life's kind of crumbling apart, going through a breakup, going through chronic illness. Like she's just been dealing with a lot. The other friend is on top of the world. Like her books have been doing great. She suggests, hey, let's go to this villa in Italy and hopefully that'll renew the writing energy for you. Turns out this villa was rented in the 70s and it's got like a whole issue with these like rock and rollers who were there, and they were just like out there having a crazy summer, crazy fun time, but there was some murders that happened during the 70s. So now of course the girl who writes thrillers is all interested, and she goes on this deep dive of trying to find out like what really happened, what went on. And so you're following all of that, but there's like 3 or 4 things you have to uncover reading this, and it was a really fun time. I think this author did a really good job too of like setting the scene. Like I felt like I was there. I felt like I was in Italy. I think this is the perfect thriller for the summertime, and I'd probably give it like a 3.5 stars. And then I got reacquainted with Abby Jimenez. I sure did. I read Part of Your World in 2024, but I didn't read it at the best time in the world. Like my mom was pretty sick and she had like a hospitalization. I read that mostly because I was very excited about Yours Truly. I heard fantastic things about the book. I didn't really like it, and it put me off from reading any of the others. And then I was like, you know what? Why am I doing this? This is the reason I wanted to read the books. Why don't I go ahead and read it? We're following Dr. Brianna Ortiz and Dr. Jacob Maddox. Brianna is the best friend of the female main character in Part of Your World. She is an emergency medicine physician. At this point in life, she's career focused because she's got a lot going on. She's got a sick brother. She got out of this horrible marriage from before, and she's got this really big opportunity because the chief attending of the emergency room is about to retire, and she's the one up for the gig, okay? However, he decides he's going to stay there a few extra months to give Dr. Jacob Maddox an opportunity for the job. So Jacob gets off to a bad start with this ER. One, they think he's gunning for the same position, but also they're calling him Dr. Death because everybody that he's seeing is dying. So he's having a bad day. He has severe social anxiety and just anxiety in general. He finds himself tripping over his words. He's putting his foot in his mouth. He's making the worst first impression with the nurses and with Brianna. So he ends up writing a letter to Brianna because he does not know how to express everything that was going on. He writes this letter, and then it just leads to them writing letters back and forth to like really communicate with each other, and it's really sweet. And then they text, and it's better if he has time to think about the words that he wants to express rather than like having to do it right there and then. They end up in this like arranged dating of convenience, fake dating. They end up fake dating because his ex-fiance ex-girlfriend is now engaged to his brother. He wants them to be happy, and he thinks the only way people are going to believe that he's happy is if he is with somebody. So it ends up that somebody that gets caught up in the situation ends up being Brianna. This was just so sweet. I loved their communication. It was fun following characters who are really well developed. They're a bit older, like closer to my age. They just feel like they're at a similar point in life, age-wise and maturity-wise as myself, which is nice. Definitely can find some relatability points with Jacob. Yeah, 4.5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed this. Just like wasn't quite a 5-star for me. Just wasn't perfect for me. It just didn't give me that 5-star feeling. Didn't give me that 5-star feeling, but let me tell you what did. And that's Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. This could be contender for my favorite book I've read this year. Oh my goodness. Like, I wanted to love Abby Jimenez. She went banger for banger, right? Back to back. This. So Emma and Justin. Justin posts on a online Reddit thing, and he's like, hey, am I the asshole? I named my dog after one of my best friends because he is dating my ex-girlfriend, and so I picked the ugliest dog at the dog shelter and named that dog after him. Am I the asshole? So that's how it starts. And then he talks about how he has this curse in the Reddit post that everybody that he dates, once they break up, they will meet the love of their life in the next person they date or the next person they see. They fall in love, live a happily ever after, have kids, yada, yada, yada. Emma replies to that Reddit post and is like, hey, same thing happens to me. She's a travel nurse. And so they're talking about like, maybe we should just set this thing up where we date, we go on 4 dates, we have 1 kiss and 1 breakup, and then after that we should both meet the love of our lives. And so they have this sweet, fun Minnesota summer. They're on the lake. I loved this. I love the romance. I love both of the characters. They're both individually going through things that, again, like, it's so real life. Abby Jimenez is so real life. They're going through things that people really go through. And so if you're experiencing this, reading one of her books that is going through it, it could be triggering depending on like what stage you are in your situation, but it could also be really healing to be like, hey, I'm not alone in this. Somebody sees me, and you think about this author wrote these characters. She cares about these characters. She loves these characters. It makes you understand, hey, I am lovable, or hey, I'm not alone. You know, it's just a really cool thing. It's a really cool part of reading. It's just the best part of reading. And I so heavily related to Emma and like what she goes through with one of her parents. I just get her, she gets me, and I loved this book. And there's a heavy theme of empathy and just trying to understand people, meet them where they're at, and it was just chef's kiss. Caught up by Liz Tomforde. And I had put down the series for a while, and I was like, hey, it's time to pick it back up. And this one we're following Kai and Miller. It is a baseball sports romance. He is one of the starting pitchers for the Chicago's MLB team. And then we're following Miller, who's a high-end pastry chef. This is a forced proximity hot nanny vibe, okay? Kai is a single dad. Mom is not in the picture for his son, and he needs a nanny. He keeps firing all of them, and Monty, the baseball coach, is like, hey, I want my daughter to hang out with me for the summer, so let's have her be your nanny so she can travel with the team. That's where Miller comes into play, and she's also looking for some time off, kind of like a break. She is in this rut. She's having this blockage. She cannot make or bake anything. They're pretty flirty, bantery off rip, but they're kind of, he thinks she's like maybe not mature enough, or maybe, I don't know. He doesn't think anybody's good enough to watch his kid, but this kid is like so invested in Miller off rip. Like they just connect. There's something about these books that there's always going to be something that either like the male main character is thinking in his head, or locker room talk, maybe like a spicy scene. There's always going to be a couple things that ick me out, and I read it and we just move on past it. And that happens in this, okay? But it's such a good and fun time. This was like a 3.5 stars for me. I think this author, she knows how to do an interconnected standalone. The interconnectedness of it all, the friendship, they go to family Sunday dinners. It is like, it's so sweet. I wanted to meet Isaiah Rhodes in his POV immediately after reading that book, but I was filming a reading vlog where I was continuing series I was in the middle of, but specifically off of my physical TBR, and I did not own Play Along at this point. So I picked up a different book, but don't worry, we met Isaiah Rhodes. But next I wrote I did not write this book, but I did read it. Throne of Secrets by Kerri Maniscalco. This is a part of the Prince of Sin series, interconnected standalone romance series. I've talked about it a handful of times because I love the original trilogy. The original trilogy is Kingdom of the Wicked. That's a front to back. You gotta read it front to back. You gotta enjoy it front to back. We're following Prince of Wrath in that, and then there's like the 7 deadly sins. So the next one, the first one in this is Throne of Secrets, and that is following Prince Envy. This is the second book in the series, and this is following Prince of Gluttony. He's got a rivals to lovers situation going on. He is beefing with Adriana. She's reporting on the king. She basically bashes him most of the time in the paper. They are beefing for a reason that happened 10 years ago that mystery will unravel as you read the book, but you got to go front to back to get there. But there's a number of things happening. There's this one plot line that's happening that is a danger to the society. It deals with ice dragons, and to kind of distract the public from that, he decides to have this competition, this dating competition, to see who could finally wife up Prince of Gluttony. Female main character's sister ends up being one of the girls picked to go into this competition, so her sister asks like, hey, bestie girl, will you come with me and live in the castle during this time? So they end up in a forced proximity, and then she is writing this specific mismatch column that's like a romance gossip column now, so she's like reporting on what's going on. She's more of a journalist type of girl. She wants to unearth what is actually going on rather than, you know, following this romance scene. I did give it like a 2.5 stars, maybe 2 stars. I just didn't love it. It gave me the ick quite a bit. I don't even know what to say. Like, I just didn't like it that much. I would say 3 stars because in the fact that I could see why maybe somebody else would like and enjoy it, but it just didn't do it for me. But then I look at some of my other 3-star books and I'm like, this does not stand the test of time with them. I'm still gonna pick up the next book. I don't know. I just didn't really like the Prince of Gluttony that much. I didn't like the relationship. Moving on. Play along list tomforde. Not quite a 5-star, but a 4.5 star. Okay. This is the 4th book in the Windy City series. We're following Isaiah Rhodes in this, who is the brother of Kai in Caught Up. And we're following him and Kennedy. And both of these characters I like just really enjoyed, really wanted to read about. So Isaiah, shortstop for the same MLB team. Kennedy is one of the athletic trainers, but there's more to that, but I'm not going to get into that. I'll let you read about it. But she's one of the athletic trainers for the team, so she's often in the locker room, like working on the guys, but she's very strict. She's very career-driven girly. She's definitely type A. She does not go out and about with the guys. She does not want to even risk any sort of relationship. But Isaiah, he's been down bad for this girl ever since he met her. They met in the women's bathroom because that's kind of like his safe space, because a big theme in this is like the issue of there not being any women being hired in the MLB. He normally is in there, but for the first time a woman was finally hired for this team, so they ran into each other, but she was having like a bad day, and his goal was like, let me make this girl smile. He feels like his purpose in life is to make people laugh and smile and be happy, and I just love that about him. I really loved both of the characters. Some of the quotes in this, I really enjoyed it. There's always going to be like the intimate scenes. There's always going to be something like that that'll give me like the ick for 2 seconds, and then I'll just move on with my life in the book. But I really enjoyed this. This is my favorite so far. My ranking goes Play Along, Right Move, of course, Ryan Shea, the man that he is. Number 3, Caught Up, and then number 4, Mile High. But I don't stand for the Mile High hate. I do not think you should skip it. I know people say skip it, but that is a crazy take, I think. I think it's important for getting to know all the characters because they're so interconnected, and I think it's so fun to learn about all of them. I just don't like how he treated her at the beginning. I think he was kind of at first. That was everything we read in quarter 1. And I will see you again for quarter 2. We read 4 fantasy, 8 romance, 2 thrillers. Cool. And we read 14 books. Be on track for my goal. It should have been 15, but you know, you live and you learn. I'm like 60 to 70% through my current read, so I'll be done with that, and then we'll pick up our next book. But that is everything I read in quarter 1. Let me know your thoughts, opinions, ratings on any of these books. If you think I should be reading anything based off of what I've rated some of these books. Happy reading. I'll see you in the next one.